Growing up in rural northeast Victoria, I've experienced various extreme weather events in my local community. I grew up in a small town about 45 minutes from Albury-Wodonga. The 2022 floods had a significant impact on me, my family, and my community. I felt quite hopeless and unsure with how I could help or what I could do. During this time, I was living in Albury, but I was staying over at my nan's, which was in Rutherglen, as I was concerned about the heavy weather and wanted to make sure she was okay and safe. So I stayed with her. The next day, once the storm had eased, my old manager at a service station that I used to work at contacted me asking if I could open up the store so the SES and CFA could get fuel in their trucks to be able to support the community, because no one else that worked there were able to get in to be able to open up the store. So no one was able to really get in or out of town very effectively or safely. I hadn't worked there in over a year at that point, but I remembered enough to be able to support my community and get things moving. So that kind of helped that helplessness and uncertainty, because I was able to get directly involved. I think the biggest challenge for me was definitely the uncertainty. I struggle quite a bit when things are uncertain. I wasn't sure how I could help support or contribute. So I guess from this, I learned that young people in the community, we want to help. We want to support our communities because we care, because we're part of them and we know people and we have a passion to support the rest of our community. The uncertainty of how we can help can create more anxiety and those feelings of helplessness, which is why I'm doing the work I am today to support young people to build their capacity and to support their communities in the cases of big weather events or disasters, as well as supporting organizations to engage with young people safely and meaningfully in those situations. I currently work with YACVIC, or the Youth Affairs Council of Victoria, on the Centre of Excellence Young People in Disasters, which is in partnership with Victoria University. We champion the inclusion and active involvement of young people to contribute to all aspects of disasters or big weather events. I work as a field officer on the centre, so supporting various projects centred around uplifting the voices and rights of young people in those disaster contexts. I got involved through my work on the Future Proof project, which was a project that was supporting young people most impacted by the 2019-2020 bushfires, so in northeast Victoria and East Gippsland. I was a peer worker on this project, supporting young people and other peer workers to uplift the voices of young people in their communities and really create those place-based or community-based actions to build young people's capability and capacity to get involved. I realized through Future Proof that I have lived experience of this space. I hadn't really realized or framed it or talked to anyone about my experiences. So yeah, through that project, it's empowered me to want to support other young people to not feel as helpless or as uncertain as I did when I was directly impacted. Seeing young people realize that they're capable and have the rights to get involved, and it actually makes things better. Seeing them realize, like, my contribution is completely valid and is just as meaningful as someone who's worked in this space for a long time. Like, my experiences being listened to, being heard, and valuable, which having young people say that the work that we're doing is helping them to feel that way really just keeps pushing me forward and makes me realize, like, it's having a real impact, which is, it gives me the warm fuzzies and makes me really passionate about the work that I do. We find that young people often aren't taken as seriously due to a perceived lack of experience or insight into heavy topics, which, in reality, young people have a wealth of lived experience and fresh ideas and passion to bring to these spaces, which can become quite stagnant in a way and tied up in the same ideas and values. I feel like involving young people in these spaces, it makes things better, things freshen up and yeah, which is really, really cool to see. But something that also comes with that is the perceived vulnerability of young people as victims of disasters and climate change. So young people may be impacted by these things, but this vulnerability lens that's often put over young people it limits their ability to be meaningfully engaged in action with support. So seeing young people as active participants of all stages of the disaster life cycle is really essential in breaking down any of these barriers that young people face in this space. And while it's young people's right to be involved in decisions that impact them, it also does make things better. I think having the capacity in local communities to upskill young people and have skilled youth workers really makes a difference in getting young people involved. There's often a lack of funding, which can also make it so difficult to break down some of the barriers faced by young people because a lot of communities in rural areas don't have a specific full-time youth worker to be able to support young people in these spaces. So I think it's really important for anyone who is supporting young people in the community in any capacity to have an understanding of youth participation and how to meaningfully engage with young people. I feel like training and support networks are great for building the skills of anyone who works with young people in the community. YACVIC provide various trainings for young people and youth workers. For young people with both advocacy training, leadership training, how to run a workshop, how to run a meeting, and the rights and safety of young people in youth group settings. We also have the Youth Participation Practice Network, which is a network of workers across the state to talk about youth participation and skills that we can build. We also have our easily accessible youth engagement resource platform, where you can learn all about your rights as a young person, how to be involved, also support for youth workers or people that work with young people generally. It's a great online platform that has a heap of information that's always being updated to be current. To young people that taking that first step is often the hardest part. If you have the passion and you want to get involved, then that's all you really need to get started. And everything else can come later. Often having a conversation, with a youth worker or a trusted adult or someone in your life, you know, can be really beneficial. Like the rest will come with time and support, and asking questions can be really, really helpful to see where you can help out. I'd also recommend learning what your rights are so you can be involved as meaningfully as possible and even stand up for yourself and your rights if you need to. For organizations, I would say start by listening to young people and what they're wanting to get involved in. That first conversation with a young person about their passions and showing support can mean so much and can really be a catalyst for some amazing things. And even providing ongoing support can be really, really beneficial as well. Taking small steps would be my recommendation for both. Engaging young people or working with young people will look so different depending on the work that you're doing. Consulting with young people or having a youth advisory group and talking to them. If your local council already has one, it can be a good way for you to connect with them. That good first step to working with young people is just having a chat with them, having a conversation, seeing what they want from you, and then meaningfully creating those processes within your organization to open up that participation and actually taking actions to make things more accessible for young people and show that you want to break down those barriers.